Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to Spiritual Bloom, where we bloom within our consciousness, with your spiritual guide and twin flame coach, Neha. In today's episode, we will be talking about something really interesting, that is, how does DNA hold spiritual codes and gifts, and what are the secrets behind it? So, what if I tell you that your DNA is more than biology? What if every hidden cell are spiritual codes, ancient wisdom, and dormant gifts waiting to awaken? Science calls DNA the blueprint of the body, but many spiritual traditions believe DNA is also the blueprint of consciousness. Your intuition, your energy, your spiritual sensitivity, and your soul memory. All these things are a part of your DNA, which has been a blueprint of consciousness. So let's understand first what DNA really is. DNA, as we all have been taught in science, we have that knowledge. But let me explain you that it is the instruction manual for physical life. Every cell in your body contains coded information that determines how you grow, heal, think, and function. But spiritually, many people believe that DNA also stores energetic information. It's not just a physical inheritance, but the emotional patterns, ancestral memory, spiritual potential, vibrational frequencies from our ancestors, these are all stored in our DNA. Think about this, that why do some people naturally feel energy? Why are some deeply intuitive from childhood? Why do certain souls awaken faster than the others? Some believe the answers may already exist within the genetic and energetic blueprint of the human body. Ancient civilizations often described humanity as divine beings having a human experience. Modern spirituality suggests DNA may act like an antenna, receiving, transmitting, storing energetic frequencies. It means that your body may be connected to consciousness than we realize. That's why I always say that your subconscious mind is always working for you. And through your subconscious mind works like receiving, transmitting, storing energy, frequencies. These all are felt through the cells in our body. That's why you must have noticed that whenever you go into a crowded place, suddenly you feel drained. Then suddenly a good sleep or a good book makes you energetic instantly. So these are the results that your DNA, your cells in the body, they are reacting. So they are the main reactors. And in this reaction, or these reactors already have stored the codes of your ancestors. The codes can be good or bad, negative or positive. For example, negatively it can be anger issues, hurt, trauma. Positively it can be some gifts, some talent which has been hiding within. So it has its own pros and cons. So the spiritual codes in DNA, what does it mean? The spiritual codes are believed to be dormant frequencies or hidden potential within us. But these codes are to be realized and awakened through our inner work. So these codes may relate to intuition, empathy, psychic sensitivity, creativity, healing abilities, higher awareness, manifestation power, and deep inner knowing. Now these codes like intuition, manifestation power, these things needs to be worked on, although it's already there in your DNA. But if you don't awaken those powers, if you don't realize the potential of those powers and understand that how important it is to work on those powers are useless. If you don't heighten your intuition, you know that you are an intuitive person, but if you don't do anything to heighten your intuition, or you know that your manifestation powers are excellent, but you don't work on it, then those powers are of no use. It's there within you, it's already there, but you need to work in order to utilize those powers. So many spiritual teachers, they believe that these gifts activate through vibration and consciousness. That's why you have to clear your consciousness. You have to have a clear consciousness in order to bring these powers into 3D, to utilize these powers into 3D. Not everyone accesses them automatically. This is not something that you switch on the button and it starts working automatically just because it's there within you. You have to work on it. You have to understand how deep it is. And by connecting to your vibration, by raising your vibration and your consciousness, connecting to your consciousness, these things, these codes will automatically, they'll start working. Just like muscle becomes stronger through training when we go to the gym, when we run, spiritual gifts may awaken through alignment. The inner alignment, which I always say, is very much necessary in order to awaken all these codes and gifts. Some people describe spiritual awakening as a remembering, a sudden expansion of awareness, stronger intuition, heightened synchronicities, feeling connected to something greater. It's as if dormant parts of the self begin turning back on. These things, they already exist in your body by default since birth, but through spiritual awakening, we are remembering who we are, who we were. What are the gifts and what are the codes that we have brought into this world through this human body? And what are the work that is required to be done in order to awaken those codes, those gifts, so that it can be of use and you can utilize those gifts and codes in this 3D. Now let's understand that how this DNA is connected to ancestral memory and generational energy. Your DNA connects you to generations before you. Science already confirms that trauma and emotional patterns can pass through generations. Spiritually, many believe wisdom can also be inherited. Like I told you, the negative side of carrying such DNA through your ancestors is emotional pain, trauma. That's why many of us become a trap to many chronic disease in this lifetime, because of all the sickness, all the trauma that our ancestors have been carrying for generations. And that turns into a chronic disease sometimes in this 3D. On the other hand, the positive part is it can also be a wisdom, an art, talent, which can be inherited by your ancestor. Suppose if someone in your ancestral line, in your lineage, had such gifts of gardening, and you have the same gift too, but you realize that very late in your life. But until and unless you don't utilize it, you will not understand that where this came from. Let me give you my example. I was very bad at cooking, pathetic. I was not a good cook at all. Just to make basic meals, I used to think 100 times that whether I will be able to make this or not. Slowly and gradually, my interest towards cooking developed, and I started learning. I started making the basic meals which we have every day. Slowly and gradually, I started discovering that I'm capable for more. I'm capable of making more things, of learning more things in cooking, and now it has become more like a hobby. And when I asked my mother that was there anybody who used to cook like this, she told me that one of my grandmother, she used to cook in this way, and I carry the same taste when I cook. So these are the gifts you inherit from your ancestors. But you have to know how to utilize it. Some people, they believe that ancestral memory lives within the body. This could explain why certain places, symbols, practices feel strangely similar, even if you have never experienced them before. Your soul may recognize what your conscious mind does not. Healing yourself may also heal generational patterns carried through your lineage. So when you awaken, the energy of your bloodline shifts too. That's why sometimes, if you must have noticed that you get a feeling of deja vu, like you have been here or you have seen this scene or this circumstances, this situation somewhere in your dream. That's why we call that deja vu, like you have been there, but this was already there in your DNA. That's why certain place, practice, it feels familiar, like you know it, but it's not you, it's your soul who recognizes it through your DNA. So how do these spiritual gifts from our ancestors gets activated? Many people believe that spiritual gifts activate through frequency. Low frequency emotions like fear, stress, anger, and constant distraction can cloud awareness. But higher state frequencies like peace, calmness, gratitude, being in a meditative state, unconditional love, empathy may create energetic coherence in the body. And through such high state vibration, high state frequency of emotions, you can activate your spiritual gifts. Some people try and believe that spiritual codes get activated through practices like meditation, breathwork. Breathwork can change the energy flow and nervous system state. Sound frequencies like music, chanting, healing frequencies. It may influence the emotional and energetic states. Nature plays a very important role. Natural environment regulate the body and calm the mind. Shadow work is the most important part. Healing emotional wounds. It removes your energetic blockages and allows you to come into your authentic self so that you can utilize those gifts which are already there in your DNA. Through your shadow work, you are removing all the low frequency emotions which was there in your DNA, and you shift and transform into a high frequency person. And that is how through your shadow work you remove those blockages and you can utilize your spiritual gifts. And also through conscious living, thoughts, emotions, intentions, it influences personal vibration. So utilizing these gifts is not something new. It's about uncovering what was already within you. It's like it was already there, but you just had to realize and work on it to activate those gifts. So now let's understand a very important part, the pineal gland and higher consciousness. What is a pineal gland? Many spiritual traditions connect DNA activation with the pineal gland, often called the third eye. The pineal gland is often called the third eye. The pineal gland regulates melatonin and sleep cycles, but spiritually, it has long been associated with intuition and expanded consciousness. Some believe heightened awareness allows humans to access deeper perception beyond ordinary thinking. Not magic, not fantasy, but deeper sensitivity to energy, pattern, emotion, and intuition. So, the more conscious you become, the more aware you become of the invisible layers of life. That's why the pineal gland or the third eye chakra is considered a very important chakra in your body. That's why they say when your third eye is open, you reach the higher consciousness. Your frequency is high. Why do they say that? Because your third eye is open, and opening a third eye is not a joke. It requires years of meditation, it requires years of inner work and self realization, shadow work. That's why the pineal gland, scientifically, it is called the third eye. Now, it's important to understand that science has not proven spiritual DNA activation in the mystical sense, but science has shown us that thoughts affect the brain. When we think positive, we feel good. When we feel negative, we feel bad. Emotions affect the body. Meditation changes neural pathways. Trauma impacts gene expression, and environment influences biology. Spirituality explores meaning, consciousness, and human experience beyond measurable data. For many people, the intersection of science and spirituality opens deeper questions. Like, are humans more powerful than we have been taught? I'll say yes. Humans are extremely powerful beings. Can consciousness influence biology? Yes. And how much potential remains dormant within us? The potential within us, within humans, are unlimited. It's our mind, our subconscious mind, which makes us believe that our talents, our potential is limited. So, maybe many spiritual gifts are not superpowers, maybe they are natural human abilities buried beneath conditioning, fear, distraction, and survival. Intuition is real. Energy matters. Maybe your body carries wisdom older than words. And maybe awakening is not becoming divine, but remembering who you already are. So your DNA may hold more than physical instructions. It may hold the map back to your higher self. So if you really liked this episode on DNA and spiritual codes and gifts, please like, share, and subscribe. For any kind of personal guidance, you can WhatsApp or email me. My contact details have been given in the description box and mentioned in the video as well. If you need to book any session, you can email or WhatsApp. Before going further with any kind of session, I provide a 10 to 15 minute demo. If you are interested, you can book your sessions. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for showing so much support and love. I go through each and every comments, the likes, the views. Thank you so much for being a part of the Bloom family. I'll see you again with another episode.